Shane, I've had a brilliant idea.
Do tell.
You should make a vlog entirely about my channel, highlighting my best videos and my worst videos.
Yep, cool.
Or you should make a second Premiere Pro Tips video. What do you think?
This is how we do it.
What's up everybody, this is Shane from Waiting to be Seen. I'm so glad that you're here for this week's Vlogstock Friday. As you saw at the top, I am doing another video with a few more top tips that I use in Premiere Pro. Nathaniel, thanks so much for joining in the fun for this week's vlog, man. Appreciate it. And as for the content, let's get to it. Tip number one is a really simple one. It's using the arrow keys on your keyboard. It's something that you really should get into the habit of using. It'll improve your workflow, and there are a couple of reasons why. If you use the arrow keys left and right just on their own, you're going to find that the cursor advances or retracts, goes back one frame. Sometimes that's all we need. If you don't already know, when you add the shift key to your arrow, it's going to advance 10 frames instead. And same, if you hit the back arrow with shift, it's going to go back 10 frames. And that 10 frames, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, could save you time. While I'm on the topic of arrows, you guys should check this out for tip number 2. It's up and down. Using the up and down keys on the timeline actually advances to the start of or to the end of a playhead of the video track or an audio track, whatever that might be. Let me show you what I mean. I've got last week's vlog open. Currently, if I just press the down key, you can see it jumped to the next playhead of the next clip, and again and again. It's pretty sweet. Now, did you notice what just happened there? Let me do it again for the eagle-eyed observer. You can see there's a video and it's jumped to the next video playhead. You can see on the side here, the video tracks that are selected. There's only one that has been selected for targeting, and that's video track 1, whereas the video above here of me playing around is not selected. So the way to get around that is to click on that track as well to make sure it is being targeted. So when you click on those tracks, it toggles whether or not that track is included in Premiere's targeting. So if I click on the up arrow, I go to the start of that playhead, down arrow, start of that playhead, down arrow again. Now you can see it's gone to the end of the playhead of track 2. So that is tip number 2, using the up and down arrows to help just jump forward to the start of the playhead or to the end of the playhead for your clip. Now on to tip number 3, really quickly. Tip number 3 is using the A key. So when you first start up, you've got the selection tool, and let's say, okay, I've got my timeline here and I'm going, you know, I want to move all of these files. So what I used to do it this way myself. You would actually just select all of those. Okay, that's fine, and then drag. All right, done. That's okay. There's certainly a place for it. This will help though. It'll make it a little bit faster. If you actually select the A button, boom, A. You can see in the timeline, the arrows have popped up like this. So instead of the selection arrow that's kind of pointed like that, like I guess the cursor, whatever, you've now got double arrows. And that means that when you select anything in the timeline, if I click anywhere in the timeline, Premiere is selecting all of the files, all of the clips on my timeline that come along after that selection point. If I then click on those clips and drag, boom, it moves it all. Such a time saver, so good. Now, if you want to go the other way, really simple, just press Shift and A and you'll see that those arrows have now reversed, and you can do the same thing. Now there's a little side note that I want to add to the A thing, because sometimes you want to drag footage into your timeline, and look, you could just press A and then shift all of your files over. That's fine, you can do that. Look, if I come over to the project tab, I'll just select this file because it's there. It's called the outro URLs thing. You guys know this. If you just drag and drop, what happens? It destroys what's underneath that. Yeah, and that is horrible. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Just simple. Make sure that you got the track select forward tool selected. So press A, boom, you can see that's now there in my timeline. If you press and hold Control and then grab your footage and drag it onto your timeline, See what's happening there? You got a whole bunch of arrows in the timeline. What is that trying to tell me? It's telling me that if I now drop that there, that has actually dropped the footage inside the timeline without destroying anything. It's taken that footage, cut that footage in half, and then moved that footage forward in order for my new footage from the project bin that I've dragged in. It's created the space, and my goodness, if I had known this years ago, I'm sure it would have saved me a lot of time. Use the A button, use Shift A if you want to go back the other way, and use Control if you want to drop footage into the timeline without destroying it and just actually shifting everything along the timeline. It's pretty cool. And while I'm on the topic of keyboard shortcuts, this is tip number 4 for you. Really simple one. You just need to press Shift, hold that down, and then press any one of the number keys along the top of your keyboard. So for example, if I go Shift number 5, it brings up the Effects Control tab. And that's because Premiere has got all of those numbers allocated to a particular window within your workspace. If I go Shift 1, for example, it goes back to the Project tab. If I go Shift 2, it goes to the Source tab. If I go Shift 3, it goes down to the Timeline. It just makes it a little bit easier to quickly navigate. It's just a simple way to improve the speed, improve the pace of your workflow. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is another 4 tips for Premiere Pro. I hope that you've learned something today. If you haven't seen the previous video, I'll link it down below and you can see what top tips I suggested last time. And if you've enjoyed this video, if you found that it's helpful for you, then do us a favor, do me a favor and click on the like button. Last week it was really exciting. I said, hey, as at this video, we've got 38 subscribers. Well, you know what? As at this video, we've got 40. So if you are one of our new subscribers, welcome to the channel. So glad that you're here. And if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please consider doing so this week. Click the big red subscribe button down below, click on the notification bell next to it, and YouTube will do the rest. They'll let you know as soon as the content comes out every week, which is fantastic. And on that very note, I'm going to finish up for today's Vlogstock Friday. Thanks so much for stopping by. This has been Shane for Waiting to Be Seen, and I'll see you next week.
That's gonna leave a mark.
What?